Now at 9, how Pitt State could be giving the historic Fox Theater in Pittsburgh new life. Plus why a Kansas mother is suing a boarding school in southwest Missouri. And an SUV in Joplin goes off the road and crashes into a bank.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Tanya Bach. The historic Colonial Fox Theater in Pittsburgh could get a new life. The Fox Theater Foundation tells us they are in discussions with Pitt State to use the building as part of the Kels Business School. KOAM's Fernanda Silva has the story.
I think myself out there with my grandma, and I think my grandparents out there together on their first date. So I do have a lot of old memories here. I remember in like the 70s, it was a thriving theater.
Todd Loveland is one of many Pittsburgh residents who cherish his memories at the historic Colonial Fox Theater. Now, the event promoter is excited about the conversations on the future of the building.
I think it'll be bright and shiny.
According to the Fox Theater Foundation, they are in discussions with Pitt State to use the building as part of the Kelsey Business School.
We wanted it to remain in some way, shape, or form a connection to our community. So we're hoping with everything that's taking place that everybody's going to get what they want with this theater and get everything that they need, and we're going to get it done in a timely fashion.
Pitt State says they are still working through the partnership details. Opened in 1920, the theater's design was inspired in buildings established in large cities. This old projector was used at Fox Theater from the 40s to the 80s. And this is just another reason why this building is so important for this community. It tells Pittsburgh history, but also film history.
The side lights changed color during the seasons. They had no heat and air, so they would make them a lot darker and warmer colors in the winter, so subconsciously you thought that it was warm in here.
But over the years, especially since it was closed in the 80s, the Colonial Fox Theater started losing its light and warmth. Since 2006, the Colonial Fox Theater Foundation has been raising funds to restore the building.
Past boards, the current board has worked so hard to fundraise to keep that theater warm, dry, safe. It's all been plumbed. It's ready to go for that next projects, for the next life it's going to take on.
Over the years, more than $2 million were put into infrastructure and capital improvements. But now it's time for new beginnings.
The foundation, their job in the near future will be to deal with the programming side of the Colonial Fox Theater. That's very important for us, that the new children of the young kids of today can still pop in there to go hopefully watch a movie and have that same experience.
New beginnings and new memories like Loveland's and Watts's to be made. In Pittsburgh, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
Well, tomorrow and Friday, the Fox Theater will host its last movie sessions. Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us now with a first look at your forecast.
Well, of course, we had a nice long stretch of really nice weather across the region, but the clouds rolled in today. And remember, we do need the rain. We haven't had heavy amounts of rain by any means. Most areas, 1/100 of an inch, 2/100ths of an inch, but it will pick up a bit over the next few days. 75 for a high. Average high is 68 for this time of the year. And if we go outside, it's a little wet on the roadway, so be careful if you are going to be out during the overnight hours tonight. We've kind of had some light showers and drizzle working through. Heavier amounts of rain up through central parts of Missouri. Let's go ahead and zoom in. You can see a few pockets of showers across the region, but a good chunk of you are dry right now. I do think this will pick up a little bit later on tonight, but you can see these scattered showers. Lamar, we can head a little bit farther south, a couple little sprinkles down through McDonald County. Showers will start to pick up again, especially as we go into Wednesday. Those details coming up here in just a bit.
Thanks, Doug. Police in Lamar, Missouri say they have arrested 2 more suspects in the stabbing of a student. The incident happened Friday night near the football stadium after a home football game. Police say 3 male juveniles waited hidden between parked cars before attacking 2 male students. One victim, who is 15 years old, was punched in the face. The other, a 14-year-old, was stabbed multiple times. He was released from the hospital on Sunday. One suspect was arrested over the weekend, meaning 3 have now been arrested in total. Police say they are all from Pittsburgh, ages 14, 16. All 3 are charged with first-degree assault. A Kansas mother is suing a GAPE boarding school in Cedar County, Missouri for the wrongful death of her son. The litigation is the latest in a string of lawsuits against the now closed institution. Kathleen Britt, mother of Jason Britt, says her son faced physical, emotional, and sexual abuse while at a GAPE. Her suit also contends the mental scars Jason Britt carried with him after he left the Christian boarding school drove him to abuse steroids, drugs, and alcohol. His mother says the combination proved deadly. A leader with a statewide support group for survivors of sexual abuse in churches wants anyone else with knowledge of wrongdoing at a GAPE to come forward.
When victims and witnesses and whistleblowers stay silent, that's when abuse continues. And when we speak up, there's at least a chance that those who commit and conceal abuse will be exposed, will be prosecuted.
Support groups like SNAP want the statute of limitations to be extended or eliminated in sexual abuse prosecution and civil cases seeking damages. A Galena, Kansas man is going to prison for meth trafficking and illegal possession of a firearm. A judge sentenced Carlos Gandy to 20 years in federal prison without parole. Gandy pleaded guilty to intent to distribute meth and possessing a firearm in furtherance of a drug trafficking crime. Gandy was sentenced as an armed career criminal due to his prior felony convictions. A Joplin bank is in need of repairs after an SUV crashed into the side of the building. It happened around 9:30 last night. Police say the SUV left the roadway and ran into the east side of Southwest Missouri Bank on Zorro and North Range Line. The driver of the vehicle was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The Joplin building inspector says the building is still safe to be inside. Well, coming up, the CDC puts out its respiratory virus forecast for the fall and winter. More than 1 million children visit the emergency department for mental health disorders every year. New CDC data collected from 2018 to 2021 shows mood disorders, anxiety disorders, and behavioral and emotional disorders were the most common reasons. About 1/4 of children end up being prescribed at least one psychiatric medication. Well, University of Southern California researchers say school policies that keep students with COVID-19 out of the classroom for 5 days are more than sufficient. Their study found the median time a child is infectious after testing positive is just 3 days. Well, 18% of children are still infectious on day 5. They also found no difference between how long vaccinated and unvaccinated children remained infectious. First signs of respiratory virus season are just starting to show in the U.S. The CDC is forecasting this fall and winter will be as bad as last year when it comes to respiratory illnesses and hospitalizations. Mandy Gaither has more on what's being predicted and how you can protect yourself now.
Right now, respiratory virus levels are relatively low in the U.S. overall, but the CDC is forecasting this season will be similar to the last one, which saw hospitals fuller than at any other point in the pandemic and worse than pre-pandemic years.
Time to getting into the hospital and getting that life-saving care can be delayed, and that can cost lives.
At the peak of this respiratory virus season, CDC forecasts show there could be between 15 and 25 new weekly hospitalizations for every 100,000 people in the U.S. COVID-19 will probably account for half of those new hospitalizations, with flu and RSV combined accounting for the other half. To help prevent getting you or those around you sick, wash hands frequently, sanitize high-touch areas, and if you're not feeling well, stay home. If you have to go out, wear a mask and get tested, says Dr. Kristen England with Cleveland Clinic.
Not only for COVID, but also for influenza. Remember, we've got medications that we can use to treat both of these viruses if caught early.
Experts say everyone ages 6 months and older should get the updated COVID-19 vaccine and this season's flu shot, and the RSV vaccine is recommended for those who are most vulnerable for severe disease. England says now's the time to get those shots.
It takes 2 weeks for any of these vaccines to really become effective in our bodies. It doesn't happen overnight.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Well, Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast. And later, there were more Volleyball district championship games today. We're going to have highlights from Nevada's match against Mount Vernon.
Well, it turned out to be a gloomy one for us today after a long stretch of sunshine, great temperatures across the region today. Clouds, drizzle, very light showers, and that's what we're seeing right now. Here's a nice shot. This is downtown Joplin, right on top of the Cornell complex. A nice shot of downtown, but some of the roads a little bit on the wet side, so be careful if you are going to be out tonight. All right, who's had the rain? Anybody who at least are picking up this light blue? You've had a little bit of rain. Not a lot of rain. The heavier amounts of kind of a ½ an inch or more, mainly Fredonia, Chanute, Iola, points west. Everybody else, very light amounts of rain. Our eastern counties haven't had anything at all throughout the daytime hours, but periods of light showers have been rotating through. These have kind of tapered a bit over the past hour or two. So we have pockets of drizzle, very light showers. Where you see the yellows, that's where we're seeing a little bit heavier, but we can zoom into the metro. A couple little showers just to the west of Miami, a couple just north of Carthage. But besides that, it's pretty quiet. Rain chances, we're going to continue with those light scattered showers tonight, and then they kind of pop up a little bit by the middle of the day for us tomorrow. So through the night, lots of clouds, hit and miss showers late tonight, especially into the morning hours. Temperatures right now, most of us mid to upper 60s, still lower 70s in our southern counties, especially the areas that haven't really had any rain throughout the daytime hours. And a little breezy for us today. Southerly winds kind of 5 to 15. Those are going to stay breezy as we go through the overnight hours tonight. So here's wave 1 that has been rotating through today. Wave 2 out across parts of Arizona. This will really start to affect us kind of late tomorrow night. We'll get a little burst of it during the middle of the daytime hours tomorrow, but really late tomorrow night. And then wave 3, which will affect us later on in the week. So we do have these waves kind of stacking up across the region. All right, let's go through time. Very hit and miss light showers tonight. We're going to stop at 6:30 in the morning. We're going to have some random showers through the morning hours. But here's the noon hour. Look how they kind of pick up a little bit on the Kansas and the Oklahoma side. Spreading east. Here's 4:30 in the afternoon. Most of these are going to be along the north of I-44. And then kind of calming down tomorrow evening. And then showers will start to pick up again late tomorrow night into Thursday morning. So we're going to start the day on Thursday with showers, maybe even a random thunderstorm. And then we'll start to dry out again once we get into Thursday afternoon. So rainfall over the next 48 hours, not extremely heavy, but a lot of areas will pick up a quarter, maybe a ½ an inch, something that we definitely need and definitely will take. All right, 76 tomorrow, showers. 73 Thursday, showers. Showers on Friday, especially late. Good old rain over the weekend, but also notice the temperatures. A high of 56 Saturday, high of only 50 on Sunday. We should get our first freeze early next week, and Halloween at chilly 51 degrees.
Yeah, hard to believe we're ready for a freeze already.
I know.
Well, I mean, not already. It's almost November.
Yeah.
It happens.
It does. It does happen.
But no snow?
No snow. Well, no snow. There's a
Not
little
yet.
chance.
Ooh, we'll dig into that later. All right, thanks, Doug. Coming up, no sign of slowing down.
They are energized out on the picket lines with news that another 5,000 auto workers are going on strike. I'm Jeff Locke in Langhorne, Pennsylvania. I'll be back with a full story coming up.
Dozens of states are suing Meta, the parent of Instagram, over the addiction and harm the social media platform allegedly causes young people. A federal lawsuit was filed in California today by more than 30 attorneys general. The states allege Meta's products have harmed young users' mental health with its addictive features such as an infinite news feeds and frequent notifications. Congress is taking another look at how to stop robocalls. The Senate Commerce and Communications Subcommittee heard from business and technology leaders about strategies to prevent the unwanted and illegal phone calls and texts. Witnesses want the Justice Department to more aggressively enforce existing laws against companies responsible for these calls.
In a civilization in which we can take pictures of Saturn's rings, the failure to solve this problem is not a matter of technology. It's a question of whether the people in power actually want to solve it.
Experts say robocall companies will find ways to evade new laws, and government agencies need to react quickly. I know, I get like 6 a day. United Auto Workers Union has expanded its strike to the Arlington assembly plant in Texas. Fox Business correspondent Jeff Locke is in Langhorne, Pennsylvania, outside of a GM parts and distribution center with the latest.
They are energized out on GM picket lines across the country, Ford and Stellantis as well. That is because they have now been joined by another 5,000 strikers. We have pictures of the GM plant in Arlington, Texas. This is where GM makes its big SUVs. Yeah, the Chevy Suburbans, the GMC Yukons, the Cadillac Escalades, now on strike. Another surprise strike, this one coming on the day and just hours after GM announced third quarter earnings. When's a bad time to announce that you've made $3 billion in a quarter? Well, I would submit it's when the workers say you're making a lot of money and we want our share. GM CEO Mary Barra on a conference call today saying, yes, we're making a lot of money, we're offering you a lot of money, but I'm not going to bankrupt this company. Listen.
The current offer is the most significant that GM has ever proposed to the UAW. Accepting unsustainably high costs that would put our future and the GM team members' job at risk is simply something that I will not do.
GM saying today it is losing $200 million a week as a result of the strike, and that's just GM. Ford, GM, and Stellantis put together about $4 billion in losses thus far. Suppliers are getting hit too, almost $3 billion in losses from the suppliers that feed the Big Three's plants. And then dealers and customers, another almost $2 billion in losses, as well as the wages of the strikers. That's cost them about $500 million. Total number of folks on strike now, almost, well, a little more than 45,000. If you total up Ford, Stellantis, and GM, all now in excess of 14,000 workers on strike. Outside the GM parts facility on strike here in Langhorne, Pennsylvania, I'm Jeff Locke with the Fox Business Network.
Up next, if you ever feel like your plants are talking about you, you just might be right. If your thumb is a little less than green, your garden could be talking about you. A new study shows plants warn each other about danger. It maps out how they emit organic compounds when hurt. Neighboring plants pick up on those chemicals and activate defenses. This information could help farmers better protect their plants against insect invaders and drought forecast, or whenever Tanya enters the room. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports is coming your way. How 7-year-old twins in Joplin are getting fully into the Halloween spirit. Plus, the Diamond, Missouri School District is trying to overcome some hurdles to create an esports program. A brother and sister in Joplin are using the spooky season to put a smile on people's faces. KOAM's Anthony Saviello has their story.
I was very impressed because he was 4.5, and I thought it was really sweet and thoughtful, and I was really touched and moved. And then when the ideas started coming and we started painting and making stuff and our focus lasted about 5 seconds, that's when I realized, like, oh my gosh, we have taken a lot on here.
Adrienne Pfeffer is the proud mother of twin brother and sister, Kellen and Kinsley. Together, these 7-year-olds are quite the team when it comes to decorating for their favorite holiday.
Some things you get to paint and you get to make crafts, like in the tree over there. We have some, Kellen loves milk, so we make milk containers and we glue things onto it and we put spider web on it.
Okay. And put lights in it.
Yeah.
The decorating tradition started in 2020. At that time, Kellen and Kinsley were only 4. At the time, COVID prevented the two from the usual Halloween festivities. But then Kellen had an idea.
We looked around in our car doing watching for Halloween, and then I said to my mom, maybe we should do Halloween to make smiles on other people's faces, because we got smiles on people's faces from going around and looking at their stuff.
And sure enough, 3 years later, the decorations are something to admire, and a smile is sure to dawn the face of anyone who lays eyes on the Pfeffer house. Oh, don't worry, the decorations look even better in the dark. Reporting in Joplin, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
Adrian says the kids try to add something new every day. That's a fun hobby to have. Well, the Diamond, Missouri School District is trying to create an e-sports program for students. The district is looking into allowing games like Mario Kart, Super Smash Brothers, and Rocket League. They're trying to find space and funding, but the principal says it would provide a good opportunity for students.
I think esports is an opportunity for us to engage a large amount of students from a wide variety of backgrounds, taking band students and mixing them with sporting students and putting them all together with an opportunity to kind of communicate and gel.
To help with funding, the district is looking at potential grants. Well, the next House Speaker is still undecided, sending Republicans back to the drawing board. Fox News correspondent Rebecca Castor has more from Washington.
House Republicans working late Tuesday night, trying to decide on their next nominee for House Speaker.
People want us to pick and they want us to move on.
But it hasn't been easy. 3 congressmen have tried and failed to win the gavel, leaving some to wonder if a divided Republican Party will ever decide on a new leader.
It's outrageous. It really is. It's outrageous.
The American people need us to govern. The soldiers, the sailors, the Marines that are potentially in harm's way right now over in the Middle East.
The last Speaker-elect, Majority Whip Tom Emmer, conceded just hours after being picked. The White House weighing in on the lower chamber chaos in a statement saying in part, quote, "Instead of joining President Biden in fighting for the American people, House Republicans have constantly fought with each other. And it's in the best interest of the country and House Republicans themselves to get their act together." And as this drags on, calls to empower temporary Speaker Patrick McHenry are growing louder.
McHenry should be able to keep this going.
We need to open the place back up.
The House is adjourned until noon on Wednesday. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Former President Donald Trump came face to face with his former personal attorney and longtime fixer Michael Cohen for the first time in 5 years. It happened inside a courtroom in New York. Cohen is testifying as part of the civil fraud case against former President Trump and his company. Court rules say Trump and Cohen were allowed to look at each other, but they were not able to speak in this first interaction. A bit later, how small towns in Arkansas are dealing with unwanted cryptocurrency mining operations.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a nice one for us over the weekend. And of course, the clouds really filtered in for us today. Even Monday was a pretty good day. But we've had the light showers, a little bit of drizzle out there. Most of the rainfall has been very light, but some of the roads are a little bit on the wet side, so be careful if you are going to be outside tonight. Nice shot downtown Joplin, the Cornell complex in downtown. We are going to continue to have on and off very light showers and drizzle. It's kind of let up a little bit for us over the past couple hours, but trying to regenerate a little bit in northeastern Oklahoma. But these again are very light showers and drizzle continuing to push through. You can see a little pocket, parts of Cherokee County, northern parts of Ottawa County. Besides that, most of the metro is fairly dry right now. But again, some showers will try to increase, especially late tonight and into the morning hours tomorrow. Overnight low, we're really not going anywhere, only dropping back to about 65. All right, so here's wave 1, which has been rotating through. You can already see wave 2 building parts of New Mexico, and this is going to affect us late morning into the afternoon hours for us tomorrow. So that's wave 2 into tomorrow night, wave number 3 back across the Pacific Northwest. So a lot to watch as we go through the next few days. So let's work through the week. Here goes this wave. Here comes this second wave working in during the daytime hours tomorrow. Another batch of rain pushing through tomorrow night into Thursday morning. Another little wave passes by to our north, but then here we go again. Rain building in for the weekend. Look at this. So here's Saturday. See the pink here? See the blue? That is a mix. And snow just to our north, parts of central Kansas into Nebraska. This wave's going to stick on us all the way through Sunday. And then after Sunday, the cooler air filters in, so it's going to cool down quite a bit as we head into early next week. All right, rain chances kind of hit and miss all the way through the daytime hours tomorrow, but spike tomorrow night and into Thursday morning. Let's go through time. Hit and miss light showers tonight. May flare up a little bit late tonight into the morning hours, especially in our northern counties. As we go through the day, showers increase. Kansas, Oklahoma kind of push through, not all of us, but push through during the afternoon. Mid-70s for highs. Then they flare up again late tomorrow night into Thursday morning. We'll have bands of showers, maybe a couple rumbles of thunder, and then they'll push east as we get into Thursday afternoon. So rainfall just over the next 36 hours, not a lot, but a lot of areas will pick up upwards to maybe a quarter of an inch. I know that's not a lot of rain, but that is better than what we've seen over the past 10 days. All right, 76 tomorrow, 73 Thursday, 76 on Friday. Hit and miss showers continue. Rain builds in for the weekend. Cooling down, high temp of only 48 on Monday.
Well, it's time for a cool down.
It is that time of the year.
Right when the rain ends, it seems like.
I know.
So. Okay, that'll be fun. All right, thanks, Doug. Super fog is causing major issues in and around New Orleans, including multiple deaths during a massive pileup on a major highway. Fox weather correspondent Nicole Valdez has more from Louisiana.
People need to drive safe, drive cautious.
At least 7 people are dead, dozens more injured in and around New Orleans after thick fog blanketed the area Monday, causing this massive pileup involving hundreds of cars on the busy Interstate 55 just northwest of the city. Some are calling it a super fog. Marsh wildfires that have been smoldering since July flaring up over the weekend and combining with fall fog to create zero visibility conditions, catching local officials by surprise.
This is not something we deal with on a regular basis, so it's something that we have to take piece by piece and be able to develop as the needs arise.
Police say at least 158 cars were involved in this crash. Emergency crews and first responders had to work for hours through Monday and into Tuesday to clear debris and cars from the highway, while then trapped drivers could only sit and wait to be rescued.
She called me and she said, we've been in a bad wreck, and it's just wreck everywhere. It's just wreck everywhere.
Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards now urging Louisianans to donate blood and drive carefully in the coming days, a message echoed by police as super fog continues to choke the city.
Allow ourselves a little bit of extra time in the morning. Slow down, make sure your headlights are turned on, and let's avoid distractions.
And while visibility is improving, that dense fog advisory remains in effect throughout Tuesday morning. Near Laplace, Louisiana, I'm Nicole Valdez, Fox Weather.
Coming up in sports, Thomas Jefferson and College Heights volleyball see each other in the district championship. Plus highlights from the Class 3 District 12 championship between Nevada and Mount Vernon. John Dales has those stories and more up next.
It's a busy day of high school volleyball all across Missouri. One of those district championships that's being handed out tonight is between Thomas Jefferson Cavaliers and the College Heights Cougars. Each of them battling for a spot in the Class 1 District 10 championship and into the Class 1 state championship. It'll be Thomas Jefferson who ends up getting there. Now, the Cavaliers of Thomas Jefferson won the first meeting between these two squads. That was about a month ago. They win it again when it matters here tonight most. 3-1 the final. Match gets decided very quickly. The Cavs are going to move on to sectionals this Thursday. Their opponent there is going to be Galena, who comes in with a very intimidating record. Entering that contest, they have a record of 33-1-1. Meanwhile, Nevada and Mount Vernon volleyball also have seen each other once already this season. The Lady Tigers won that meeting 3-1. This evening, the Big 8 Conference foes match up for the second and final time. Also in this matchup, a district championship is on the line. This one coming with the district championship hanging in the balance. Lady Tigers scoring the first 5 points of this one in the first set. Mount Vernon able to get its footing after that, coming back to win the first set as well. We apologize. Trying to get you highlights of this one. We won't be able to, but we'll have that later on our website. KOAMnewsnow.com/sports is where you're going to be able to watch it. Also, KOAM News at 10. But Mount Vernon wins 3-1 over Nevada. Head coach Bridget Schmutz says her message to the team when they were down 5-0 in that first set was one of confidence.
Just trust what our game plan was. We hadn't executed it yet. You know, they took us out of serve, out of rotation and kind of out of system with their serve. And, I just said, we have a game plan and we just need to trust it. And once we get into it, I think we're going to be okay.
Over to the MLB postseason, you don't have to be a fan of baseball to appreciate what's happening tonight. That's the two best words in all sports. Game 7. The National League Championship Series between the Phillies and Diamondbacks. Well, the series has gone the distance. Game 7 in Philly happening right now. Middle of the 7th inning. Arizona leads 4-2 in the 7th. They're the visitors as well. Would be a huge upset. Would be winning 3 of the last 4 in that series if the Diamondbacks are able to hold on. And of course, whoever holds on in these last few innings, the winner moves on to the American League champion, moves on to face the American League champion. That's the Texas Rangers. Back to volleyball, though, for a quick second. I know I mentioned Mount Vernon and Nevada, really good match between the two of them, and a Mount Vernon team that heads into state play with just one senior on its roster. A lot of underclassmen making an impact.
I know we didn't get to see the highlights tonight, but what were some of the big plays of the night that you really noticed?
There were a lot of them. Like I said, it was kind of that run from down 5-0 right away, take a timeout. In that timeout, kind of turn things around from that point forward. And again, it was Nevada who won the first meeting between those two. For Mount Vernon to come back and win it in the playoffs, pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm. Never give up.
Never give up.
That's what Captain America says. All right, thanks, John. We'll be back with more news after this. Small towns across Arkansas are becoming the unwilling host of cryptocurrency mining facilities, hooking up to their power grids and evoking increasing outcry among locals. Andrew Mobley has details.
A law passed at the legislative session earlier this year, Act 851, rolled out the welcome mat for crypto mining businesses in the state, largely preventing local government from regulating them. Arkansas Senator Brian King requested the repeal of Act 851 during September's special session, but the motion was shot down. Since then, King has requested records pertaining to crypto mines and Act 851 from a governor's office staffer, Legislative Director Jamie Barker.
He's one of them that had a meeting here recently that I was not invited to. He seems to be the one that I think that needs to be the one answering questions, and unfortunately, he's not.
King's request was denied by the governor's office, which asserted that by statute and case law, the records he requested were exempt from Arkansas's Freedom of Information laws. King has also criticized the governor for not putting the issue of crypto mining in Act 851 in the call for September's special session.
Whether it's the governor's office and these legislators up here, why are they protecting Chinese interests out there that are putting assets like this right next to our substations? We need to have answers about why they are being obstructionists to trying to get this repealed and give cities and counties the right to be able to decide what they want.
Senator Joshua Bryant, who sponsored Act 851, provided the following statement in response. Private property rights are paramount in our state constitution. Regardless of the passage of Act 851, the individual has always had a right to use their property as they see fit. Act 851 simply requires those that operate crypto mining data centers to comply with all local laws and regulations, pay taxes, and shut off in the event of power demand. In no way does Act 851 limit the ability of local control in the operation or zoning of these facilities. However, it does prevent local government from banning them from simply wanting to exist. As lawmakers begin to ask questions, crypto miners continue to buy property for new facilities around the state, for better or for worse.
Well, locals in DeWitt, Arkansas are considering a potential lawsuit to determine the constitutionality of Act 851. Coming up, why the latest wax figure of The Rock is going viral. The skin color on Dwayne Johnson's latest wax figure has gotten under the skin of his fans. But when The Rock himself ever so politely complained, the wax museum melted. Jeannie Moose reports.
First, they teased their new wax figure, then they unveiled The Rock in all his waxy glory, and now they have to fix it after finding themselves between The Rock and a hard place.
I kneel before no one.
Museum Gravin in Paris bragged that its artist spent 10 days meticulously working on his tattoos, but somehow managed to mess up the color of his skin. Instead of The Rock, one poster called him The Chalk, commented another, they turned you into Mr. Clean.
Mr. Clean gets rid of dirt and grime and grease in just a minute.
And then The Rock himself chimed in, amused more than angry, posting a riff by comedian James Jefferson that The Rock said made him belly laugh.
They turned The Rock into a pebble. It looked like The Rock about to be part of the royal family. I'm low-key offended.
The Rock's wrestler dad was black and his mom Samoan. The Rock said he would have his team reach out to our friends at the museum to work on updating my wax figure, starting with my skin color.
It looked like he worked at H&R Block or something like that.
Wrote one fan, I like my coloring of him more. The museum definitely got the message and posted, our artists are already working on improving the waxwork of Dwayne Johnson. The Rock seems to have cleaned up this mess pronto.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
I love it. That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of elephants at the Oregon Zoo playing with pumpkins. You know it's that time of year. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.